Alright guys, so this video is on solving for y, and we want to use this to help us identify slope and intercept. So when you look at this equation, you'll notice that it's not in slope-intercept form, it's actually called standard form. And when it's in standard form, I can't identify the slope and intercept like we could when we looked at the other equations. So we need to rearrange this so that we can put it in y-intercept form, or slope-intercept form, sorry. So let's go through our steps first. In order to do this, we need to isolate y. And isolate y means we're getting the y by itself. So whenever we're solving, and this is solving skills that we used back in Unit 1. So we got to think back all the way to Unit 1. So make sure whenever you are doing this, you simplify first. Okay, simplifying could be combining like terms or distribution. And then you're going to use inverse operations. Okay, and those are the same exact steps we use for solving. Now, when we were solving back in September, we only had x, and we were always solving for x. But now we're not doing that. We're isolating y this time. So that's what I'm solving for. So I'm going to draw my onions. Okay, the first thing affecting that y is that -3. So that is going to be the second thing that we move. We always want to work from the outside in. And then what's affecting the -3y is that 8x. So the first thing I want to do is try to get rid of what's in the outside bubble. So what's in that outside bubble is a positive 8x, and that's what we need to move. So I can move the positive 8x by doing negative 8x on both sides. Because I need to move the whole thing. My goal is to isolate y. Okay, so on this left side, I crossed out my 8x's because that's inverse. I'm going to bring down what I didn't do yet, which is the -3y. Also going to bring down my equal sign. Now, when I look at the right-hand side, are they like terms? Can I simplify 15 minus 8x? No, they are not like terms because of the x in 1. There's no x in the 15, so I can't put them together. So when I write them, I'm going to leave them separate. All right, now I want to isolate that y still. And what is bothering that y or affecting that y? That -3. Now remember that when it's touching like that, it's being multiplied. So in order to get rid of it, our opposite is division. And when we divide this time, we need to divide to every single piece. Okay, we can't just divide to 1, because we need to divide to that whole side. So my 3's will cancel out over here. I'm going to bring down my y. Now I'm going to go ahead and simplify. So 15 divided by -3 is -5. And -8 divided by 3 is a decimal. And not a nice one, so we're going to leave it as 8/3. But just note that we have a negative divided by a negative, which equals a positive. So this is going to be a positive 8/3x. Okay, so now it is in slope-intercept form. It is in y equals mx plus b form. All right, I can rearrange it if I want to put the mx plus b. I can rearrange it like that, but either way is acceptable. Our y is isolated, so that's good. And now we can go ahead and identify the slope and y-intercept. The slope, like we mentioned in the last video, is the one next to the variable. So that is the 8/3. And our y-intercept is the one by itself, and that's the -5. Okay? All right. Let's take a look at example number 2. Okay, so example number 2. I have a y, and I have something affecting it. What's affecting it? The +5. So what do I have to move? The 5. How do I move the 5? Inverse -5 -5. All right, I can cross out my inverses, bring down my y. And on the right-hand side, I have -2 parentheses x minus 5 and then another take away 5 that we just put on that side. Okay, so this is isolated for y. It is solved, but I still can't identify the slope and the intercept yet because of these parentheses. And when we see parentheses, what do? Distribute, right? So just like we did before, I need to distribute. My -2 goes with the x. My -2 goes with the -5. And remember, when we were distributing, we're only distributing with what's near the parentheses. This other -5 is just going to get brought down to the outside. I'm not doing anything with that. Okay? So now we're just going to go ahead and simplify. Multiply this, I get -2x. Multiply this, I get +10. And again, I'm bringing down that outside -5. We are almost in y-intercept, slope-intercept form, but I need to do one thing with these two. What is that called? Combine like terms. Combine like terms. 10 take away 5 is 5. Everything else gets brought down. And now, are we in slope-intercept form? Yes. Y equals mx plus b. So go ahead and identify what's the slope and what's the y-intercept. What's the slope? What's the y-intercept?
Oh.